Welcome to this Drupal video. In this video we will talk about how do you add links to your page, how do you add images, and how do you add documents to the website. So to add a link to your page, the first thing to do is to go to New Draft, and once we're in New Draft, we're going to go in and select a phrase, and then we're going to be able to search for an item on the website, another page on the website. This is what's called an internal link. We're making a link to some other location in our own website. And there's a button on your toolbar that does that, helps you search for that. It's the second button from the end. When you click on Link to Content, and it loads the Link It dashboard for you, that search dialog box, you can type in what you would like the website to be looking for, another page in your website, and in this case I come up with what they call a node, another page called In the News. And when I choose that, Drupal will have its own way that it refers to that page, but that's not what the users see, don't worry. When we click Insert Link, it will bring that link into my page. If I click away from it, the highlighted text, you can see it changed the formatting of that text. And that will be able to be tested once I have saved the page. I cannot test it when I am in draft mode, but it will be a link to another page in my own site. The next kind of link to create is to another site within the city and county of San Francisco, or an external organization altogether outside of the city and county, some kind of service offered or program offered that you wish to link to by another organization. In this case, I am doing the Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development as an example. So I've added some text that I'm going to create as the link to that site. I've brought my browser down from being maximized. You can see that I have another tab here in my browser. I find that's the easiest way to get the location that I want to go to. Once I highlight my text, I'm going to click on the tab to go to the Mayor's Office of Housing and Development. I'm going to find the URL and right-click and copy that URL. And I'm going to come back to my own page in edit mode. And I am going to use the button that allows me to create a link, which this time is here in the middle of the toolbar. It looks like little links on a chain. And when I click on that, I get the opportunity in the link info dialog box to paste the URL that I just copied. Don't worry about the duplicate HTTP here. It will correct itself once I'm ready to leave this dialog box. One question to ask yourself as you're creating this is the choice called target. Target means, do you wish the page that you are linking to replace the page in the window, the browser tab that you are on? Or do you wish, as I'm going to do, to create it as another page, what's called a new window _ blank. I'm going to choose that and say OK. And that means now, again, when I click away from this link, you'll see that it's going to be changed visually. That means that when I click on this text, I will go to the office of the Mayor's Office and Housing Community Development, and it will also open a new tab for me in the browser. An additional kind of link to create is a link within a long web page, such as this one. At the bottom of the page, I might have a little text that lets me link back to the top. And what that means is that I want to be able to go in and highlight this and have the user automatically, when they click here, go back to the top of the page. That's really two pieces. The first thing I need to do is go to the top of the page after I have my text and create the link for the text to go up and link to. And that is what's called an anchor. And the button that represents that is a flag button. It's about in the middle of the toolbar. And when I click on that, I get a dialog box that asks me for the name of the anchor. A couple of rules about anchor names. They should be all lowercase, and they should not have any spaces in them, as this will essentially become part of the URL of the web page when you use it. So I'm simply going to call this anchor top and say OK, and I get a little flag that visually represents that anchor. When I hover over it, it reminds me that it is an anchor. When I scroll back down to the bottom of my page, where I have my text for link to top, I can highlight the word top and I can create an anchor link to it, which is done by using the same link button that we used before for the external link, the little links on a chain button, again, just about in the middle of the toolbar. And when I click on that, I get to create not a URL this time, but if I click on the down arrow next to link type URL, I can choose link to anchor in the text. And when I choose that, the dialog box will change and it will ask me what's the name of my anchor. And I'm going to choose top. So you don't have to remember the name. Drupal will remember the names of the anchors on this page for you. I'm going to choose top and I say OK. And now the word top is linked up to, if I scroll up here, up to the top of the page to this flag that represents the anchor up at the top of the page.